That night, everything changed. The power went out, and the house fell into complete, silent darkness. Wrapped in just a towel, I carefully made my way to the bedroom, feeling my way through the blackness. I thought I had reached my husband's bed. "William?" I whispered softly into the dark. No answer. I reached out and gently touched a shoulder. But in the next second, a powerful force pulled me down onto the bed. William's body pressed against mine, his breath warm against my skin. In the darkness, every sensation felt sharper: the heat from his body, the strength in his touch, the quiet urgency in the way he held me. Before we go further, I want to invite you to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Every click helps us bring you more deep and meaningful stories. If this story speaks to you, feel free to share it or leave your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from you, and your support means the world. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Now, back to that unforgettable night. As William touched me, a mix of nervousness and desire raced through my body like a spark of electricity. My heart pounded, and I felt my breath catch as I struggled to speak, but no words came out. It was as if my voice had been stolen by the tension in the air. In that moment, everything became a blur: just warmth, closeness, and the sound of my own heartbeat. I wanted to say something, anything, but I couldn't. And it was that exact moment, the one wrapped in shadows and silence, that opened the door to a story I never saw coming. A story full of secrets, of complicated emotions, of lines that should never have been crossed. That night changed everything. Hello everyone, my name is Sophia, and I've just turned 30. I've always had simple dreams: to build a peaceful, happy home, to be surrounded by love. Life has brought me through many ups and downs, moments of doubt, and hard decisions. But I truly believed I had found my safe place when I met William. Today, I live with him, a kind, thoughtful man nearing 50, and Luke, his 24-year-old son. This was the family I always dreamed of. William brings calm into my life. He has a gentle way of making you feel safe, grounded, like nothing in the world can shake you. Even with the years behind him, he carries himself with such grace and quiet strength. His time as a single father shaped him into someone incredibly patient. You can feel his love in the smallest things he does. Whether it's a simple gesture or a quiet word, his care runs deep. He loves me with a kind of honesty and warmth I didn't know I needed. And that love, it reached into places I had long buried. He strives every day to be a devoted husband and an exemplary father, embodying kindness and responsibility in every aspect of his life, whether it's cooking our favorite meals in his free time, tidying up the house without being asked, or remembering the little things that bring me joy, like my affection for hydrangeas or my passion for classic films. William makes me feel deeply valued and cherished. As thoughtful actions are constant reminders of the love and respect he holds for me, leaving me more grateful with each passing day. Lucas, William's stepson, is another extraordinary adult who has left a lasting impression on me. At just 24 years old, Lucas is strikingly handsome with an impressive height and a strong athletic physique. However, it's not just his appearance that stands out, it's the maturity and depth of character he possesses far beyond his years that really capture attention. When I first moved in with William and Lucas, I couldn't help but feel apprehensive. I worried about how Lucas might react to having a stepmother in his life. Would he feel distant or struggle to accept me in this new role? Those concerns weighed on my mind, but to my surprise, Lucas quickly eased all my fears. He greeted me with warmth, kindness, and a friendliness that was both disarming and endearing. Lucas has always maintained a respectful and open attitude towards me, going out office way to ensure I felt welcomed in their home rather than keeping me at arm's length. He embraced me with subtle gestures of affection, like calling me Sophia in a warm and playful tone. This small but significant choice of addressing me helped to bridge the gap and dissolve any sense of awkwardness or formality that might have existed in both William and Lucas. I found a family that has given me not only love but also acceptance, respect, and a sense of belonging. Together, they have created an environment of harmony and mutual care, one that I am endlessly grateful to be part of. The first days spent living with this small family were filled with joy and a sense of belonging I had long craved. Each morning began with the comforting routine of the entire family gathering around the dining table. William, ever attentive, would make coffee for me, his warm smile a daily reassurance. Lucas, always eager to help, took it upon himself to assist me in preparing breakfast. The lively banter and playful jokes that Accompanied meals created a warm and vibrant atmosphere, making me feel incredibly fortunate to be welcomed into this home. Evenings were no less special. We would settle together in the cozy living room, exchanging stories about our day. Lucas, full of energy and ambition, would share updates about his work and speak enthusiastically about his plans for the future. William, listening intently, would beam with pride as his son spoke his ease, reflecting the depth of their bond. Watching them, I couldn't help but feel a deep warmth, a sense of connection to the family dynamic I had always longed for but never truly experienced. William went out of his way to make me feel at home and to ease my transition into this new chapter of life. His gestures of affection, small yet meaningful, never failed to touch me heart, whether it was the way he held me hand as we watched movies together or the care with which he adjusted the scarf on my shoulders on colder nights. His tenderness spoke volumes. These seemingly simple acts made me feel cherished and secure, wrapping me in a cocoon of love and reassurance. What made it even more special was Lucas's acceptance of our relationship. Far from feeling awkward, he embraced our closeness with humor, often teasing William in his endearing way. Finally, Dad found someone who knows how to manage this grumpy old man, he'd say, his laughter filling the room, his openness and lightheartedness added another layer of comfort, reassuring method. I was truly in the right place. Day after day, I found myself whispering silent thanks for the life I had stumbled upon. Living with William and Lucas felt like finding a long-lost dream, a real family where love, care, and support were constants. But as idyllic as those days seemed, an inexplicable lion began creeping into my heart. It started subtly, like a faint shadow in the corner of my mind, barely noticeable, and I was alone, though that shadow grew heavier, filling me with an uneasy weight that I couldn't quite identify. At first, I brushed it off as fatigue or the natural stress of adjusting to a new environment, but as days passed, the feeling became harder to ignore. It expanded, growing sharper and more insistent as though something within me was straining, gagging an invisible barrier. Longing to break free. One afternoon, while aimlessly scrolling through Facebook to pass the time, I stumbled upon an article that seemed written for me. It explored the emotional and physiological dynamics between men and women in long-term relationships. Every sentence seemed to strike a nerve, describing with startling accuracy the unease I had been grappling with. The article delved into how just an intimacy within a marriage could lead to a gradual sense of detachment. It explained that a decline in physical affection often results not just in a sense of monotony but also in a subtle erosion of emotional stability, giving rise to unspoken anxieties and nameless worries. As I read, a sudden clarity hit me like a bolt of lightning. This was the root of the discomfort I had been feeling. It wasn't just the adjustments of a new life or the challenges of blending into a family. It was the absence of affection, the lack of those intimate, tender moments between William and me. Somewhere along the way had stopped sharing that closeness, and it was beginning to take its toll on me. Heart, we still loved each other deeply, still cared for one another in ways that mattered, but the spark of physical intimacy that once defined our relationship had slowly faded, washed away by the relentless demands of daily life. I often found myself reminiscing at those evenings when William was absorbed in his work while I, feeling the void of his absence, buried myself in books or scrolled endlessly on my phone, seeking distractions but never truly filling the emptiness. We still talked, shared snippets of our day, exchanged smiles over mundane things, yet the subtle touches, the unspoken gestures, the small acts of tenderness that once bound us so closely had disappeared. It was as though they had been swept away by the tide of routine and responsibility. When I read the article that evening, something clicked. The uneasy feeling that had been lingering in my heart for weeks finally had a name. It was the absence of intimacy with William. The realization hit me hard, but it also ignited a determination within me. I didn't want to let this distance grow any further. I wanted to bridge the gap, to find a way back to the sweetness we had once shared, to reignite the warmth that had brought us together in the first place. I knew it would happen on its own. I had to take the first step. That evening, I decided to make a change, starting with myself. I put more thought into my appearance than I had in a long time, not out of vanity but as a gesture of effort and care. I selected a light silk dress, simple yet elegant, one that subtly accentuated my femininity without appearing overly elaborate. I took the time to style my hair neatly, letting it fall in soft waves, and added a touch of the perfume William had once complimented me on. Its delicate scent brought back memories of moments when his attention felt like the most natural thing in the world. Standing in front of the mirror, I examined every little detail, adjusting here and there, and took a deep, steadying breath. Nervousness crept into my chest, mingling with a flicker of hope. I wondered if William would understand what I was trying to convey, if he would see this as an invitation rather than admin. The fear of rejection loomed. Booty pushed it aside. This mattered too much to let fear hold me back. When I entered the living room, William was seated on the sofa, engrossed in the newspaper. The rustling of the pages ceased as his gaze lifted to meet mine. For a fleeting moment, his eyes widened in surprise, then softened into a warm, genuine smile. "You look beautiful," he said, his voice steady and sincere, carrying a warmth that eased some of my apprehension. I sat down beside him, close enough that our shoulders nearly touched, searching for the right words to open the conversation. At first, we talked about things: his day at work, some errands around the house, light-hearted topics that felt safe. I tried to ease into the deeper conversation, but the words caught in my throat each time I attempted to broach the subject. My hesitation must have been obvious, because William's brow furrowed slightly, his expression turning curious and concerned. Finally, I summoned me courage and spoke, my voice soft yet steady. "William, there's something I've been meaning to talk to you about lately. Been feeling like we've grown distant, not in how much we care for each other, but in the closeness we used to share. I think it's been a while since we've really connected in that way." The words lingered in the air between you, vulnerable yet truthful. For a moment, hesitated, nothing in my heart rested, uncertain of how he would respond. Then William set the newspaper aside and turned fully toward me, his eyes meeting mine with a tenderness that instantly soothed some of my anxiety. "Sophia," he began, his voice gentle but full of emotion, "I know exactly what you mean. I've felt it too. Life has been so hectic lately, and I guess I've been so caught up in work that I didn't realize how much it was affecting us. I'm sorry if it made you feel unloved or unappreciated. Was never my intention." His words, spoken with such sincerity, felt like a balm to my heart. A warmth seemed to fill the space between us, melting the distance that had grown unnoticed over time. William reached for my hand, his stuck, reassuring, his gaze unwavering. At that moment, I realized we were both willing to make the effort to rediscover the connection we had almost lost but never stopped yearning for. "I know we need to spend more time together. I really cherish what we have, and I don't want to lose it," William had said, his voice soft but firm, as though he wanted those words to linger in the air between us. That night we made love. It wasn't rushed or thoughtless, but filled with an unspoken tenderness, a quiet yearning that reminded me of the early days of a relationship, back when passion came effortlessly like a flame that never threatened to waver. His hands were gentle, his touch careful and deliberate, though he was afraid of breaking something fragile. In those moments, I felt a glimmer of the connection that had once bound us so closely, and for a fleeting time I allowed myself to believe that maybe, just maybe, the uncomfortable weight I had been carrying in my heart would finally dissolve. But when it was over, I lay there in the stillness, staring at the dark ceiling above my chest, rising and falling as the minutes stretched on. That feeling Theon I thought I'd left behind was still there, smoldering in the depths of my soul. It was like an ember that refused to go out, no matter how much I tried to do it. Something was unresolved, something I couldn't name but could ignore either. It felt as though there was a piece missing, a vital part of myself or office that kept me from fully exhaling, from feeling the of comfort I longed for. I turned my head slightly to look at William. He was fast asleep beside me, his face peaceful, his breathing steady, as if all was right in his world. For a moment, I envied his ability to slip so easily into that calm. Meanwhile, I lay restless, my thoughts whirling like an unstoppable current. I tossed and turned, each shift in position failing to bring relief. That was when it struck me, maybe the void I was feeling wasn't something physical. Perhaps it wasn't just about intimacy or touch, maybe it ran deeper into a part of my soul I didn't yet understand. It was a void that seemed impossible to name, much less fill. Not wanting to linger in my thoughts any longer, I slipped out of bed and stepped into the bathroom. The sound of the running water filled the small space, and I let the warm shower cascade over me, hoping it would wash away not just the sweat on my skin, but also the knees in my heart. For a brief moment, it felt lighter, as though I had shed a part of the invisible burden weighing me down. Wrapping a towel around myself, I stepped out of the bathroom, the faint scent of shower gel clinging to my skin and offering a fleeting sense of comfort. But just as I made my way into the hallway, the entire house was plunged into darkness. The electricity had gone out without warning, and the sudden void of light was jarring. The faint glow of the nightlight in the bedroom disappeared, leaving behind a thick, suffocating blackness. I hesitated, my breath catching us. I stood there, the cool air prickling me damp skin. Slowly, I reached out, letting my fingertips glide along the wall to guide me back toward the bedroom. The silence was overwhelming, broken only by the faint whistle of the wind outside the window. "William," the first called out softly, my voice tentative But there was no answer. The quiet was unnerving, too heavy to complete. As I entered the room, my feet touched the edge of the bed. I sat down, carefully reaching out. I let my hand find his shoulder, but before I could fully register the warmth of his skin, a sudden force pulled me backward down onto the bed. William, the first gasp, my voice caught somewhere between surprise and confusion. My words were silenced almost instantly as I felt his breath hot and close against my neck, sending shivers down my spine. In the absolute darkness, it was as though every sense I had became heightened. William's body pressed against mine with an intensity that was both commanding and desperate, as though he wanted to claim every part of me. His movements were deliberate, each touch sparking an electric charge that seemed to race through my skin. I could feel his warmth enveloping me, his rapid breathing brushing against my ear, and the raw energy in his hands as they moved across my body. My own reactions betrayed me. I trembled, every nerve alight with sensations that I couldn't control. Shyness mingled with an unfamiliar boldness, and for a moment I felt utterly consumed by him, lost in a whirlwind of emotions that I couldn't define. Their rhythm of his movements matched the pounding of my heart. A deafening beat had drowned out even the faint sounds of the wind outside. In that moment, the world felt suspended, as though nothing existed beyond the two of us, tangled in the darkness. But even as his touch ignited something primal in me, I couldn't shake the lingering undercurrent of unease, a feeling that no amount of closeness could erase. Here's a longer and more detailed version of your text while maintaining the same me. And Angie attempted to resist slightly, not out of any real desire to escape, but to try and regain some sense of clarity, some grasp of reason that seemed to be slipping away from me. Yet it was the of William's breath against my skin and the sheer determination in his movements that dissolved all my thoughts like smoke in the wind. My mind went blank. I couldn't speak a single word. My throat tightened under the weight of the overwhelming moment, as though the intensity of the situation itself had stolen my voice. The dark room enveloped us like a cocoon, cutting us off from the outside world. In that space-time seemed to stretch and stop simultaneously. Nothing else existed but the two of us, intertwined in a way that blurred the lines between boundaries and closeness. There was no sense of distance, no barriers. I could feel his longing in the way he held me, an intense, almost primal desire that seemed to ignite something deep and instinctive within me. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, allowed myself to surrender to the moment, to feel enveloped in a sense of warmth and connection that I hadn't experienced in years. It was as if I had rediscovered something I hadn't even realized I'd lost. When it was over, I lay back, my body drained of energy yet filled with an unfamiliar sensation. Tightness weighed on me, but it was accompanied by a strange mix of emotions that I couldn't quite name. Then suddenly, a faint hum of electricity. Reader Ned, the light from the bulb overhead flickered and came to life, piercing through the darkness and jolting me back into reality. I squeezed my eyes shut for a moment, adjusting to the sudden brightness, then turned to face him, only to freeze in place. The face next to me wasn't William, it was Lucas. Lucas, I gasped, my voice trembling with disbelief and shock. His eyes met mine, filled with a mixture of confusion, guilt, and something deeper. Something in Decibac's sister Sophia, he murmured softly, his voice barely audible. He quickly sat up, his movements hesitant as though trying to distance himself from the enormity of what had just happened. What is this? I stammered, my voice cracking as I struggled to process the situation. My mind reeled, caught between anger, confusion, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal. Why didn't you say anything? Why are you even here? Luke's expression shifted, his eyes clouded with conflicting emotions. For a moment he said nothing, his head bowed as though he couldn't bear to meet my gaze. Then finally he spoke, his voice thick with emotion. Sis, I'm sorry, he began hesitantly. I've had feelings for you for a long time. I didn't want this to happen. Penny, swear I didn't, but when I saw you walk into the room and then the power went out, I don't no, I couldn't help myself. I thought this was my only chance to be close to you. His words hit me like a physical blow. My entire body stiffened and I instinctively moved back, putting distance between us. Lucas, I exclaimed, my voice trembling with barely contained anger and disbelief. Do you have any idea what you've done? Do you understand how wrong this is? This is a terrible, unforgettable mistake. Lucas's head hung low, his shoulders slumping under the weight of my words. His voice cracked. TR to explain himself, though no explanation could possibly suffice. Ignosis, I know I messed up. I know it was wrong, he said, his voice shaking. Every time I see you and Dad together, I wish I could feel love like that. He didn't mean to hurt you, I swear it, and I just couldn't control it anymore. I'm so sorry. His confession left me reeling. A wave of emotions crashed over me, confusion, anger, pity, and something else I couldn't quite define. Eliacus, I said, my voice firm but trembling, I'm not the one who can fill the void in your life. I understand that you're struggling with complicated feelings, but this is not the way to deal with him. This can't happen again. Do you understand me? He lifted his head slowly, his eyes glistening with guilt and despair. I understand, sis, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I'm really sorry. I just wanted to feel loved the way dad loves you, but I know it was wrong. I promise it will never happen again. I took a deep, shaky breath, trying to calm the storm of emotions raging inside me. Lucas, I said firmly, though my voice softened slightly, I won't tell William about this, but you need to take responsibility for what you've done, and you need to keep your distance from me and from anyone else until you can sort for your feelings. This is the last time I will ever tolerate something like this. Do you understand? He nodded silently, his head bowing once more, as though the weight of his guilt was too much to bear. As I sat there, my mind raced with thoughts, questions, and regrets. If I hadn't let myself get lost in the dark, tangled corners of my emotions, would things have turned out differently? Would I have seen the signs? So this before it happened. Life is full of moments like this, moments where a single mistake can ripple outward, hurting not just you but also the people you care about the most. You realize painfully that emotions left unchecked can lead to actions that are impossible to take back, and some mess the confusion and chaos we feel don't come from others, they stem from unresolved instability within ourselves. Biggest lesson I learned that night was the importance of controlling one's emotions and actions, especially when faced with situations that teeter dangerously close to the edge of irreparable mistakes. There is no solace in regret, only the determination to ensure it never happens again. Instead of avoiding the challenges we face or seeking temporary escapes that offer only fleeting comfort, the most important step we can take is to confront ourselves with honesty and courage. It is essential to recognize the deeper issues at hand and commit to finding solutions that address the root cause of our struggles. To everyone who may be listening, I want to extend this heartfelt piece of advice. Always stay true to your feelings, acknowledge them without judgment, and allow yourself to experience them fully. However, at the same time, it is equally important to establish clear and healthy boundaries for yourself and others. Life has a way off presenting us with moments of weakness, and in those times it can be easy to lose our way, even if only for a moment. Yet we must remember that even seemingly small missteps can lead to a consequence that ripple far beyond ourselves, affecting not only our lives but also the well-being of the people we hold most dear. Therefore, I encourage everyone to remain vigilant and grounded in those challenging moments. It is equally important to cherish the relationships we are blessed with, to recognize their value, and to nurture them with both sincerity and a sense of responsibility. Trust once broken is difficult to rebuild, and it often takes only a single impulsive action or fleeting emotion to cause damage that can take years to repair. Their relationships we build over time, be they with friends, family, or partners, are like a delicate works of art. They require effort and commitment to maintain. Let us not allow temporary emotions to erode what has been so carefully built. For sometimes a single decision made in haste or under pressure can alter the course of an entire life. Lucas's passing was not only a tragic event but also a powerful and lasting reminder of how important it is to cultivate self-awareness and mindfulness in everything we do. Life is rarely without its difficulties. We will inevitably make mistakes and feel pain along the way, yet these challenges are not without purpose. They serve as opportunities for growth, teaching us invaluable lessons about ourselves and those around us. Through our struggles, we can learn to love ourselves more fully and extend that love more thoughtfully to the people in our lives who matter most. Since that time, I have come to treasure each and every day I am given. With William, I have chosen to focus on rebuilding our family, doing my best to create a space filled with love, understanding, and resilience. I know that cracks left by the past cannot simply be erased. They will always be a part of our story, a reminder of the trials we have faced. Yet I also believe that with consistent effort, sincerity, and a deep commitment to doing better, I can create something meaningful, not just for myself but for the people I love. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Before we say goodbye, if you have not yet subscribed, I invite you to press the subscribe button